Hey, welcome back to another episode of Heavy Rotation, a tribute to Cleveland metal and beyond. In the studio tonight, got my buddy here, Jeremy Jones. He's primarily, to my knowledge, he's a audio engineer, sound engineer, live sound rather, doing a lot of shows at Maple Grove in Maple Heights and Buzzbin in Akron, I believe. And he's also been tracking, mixing, mastering a lot of recordings as well. He's been in some bands in the past. So, just a lot to get into. Should be a cool little interview. Thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, I've been trying lately to, instead of being like, hey, how did you first get into music? Like, kind of focusing more on, like, what's most current, Okay. So, like, currently, Dark Realm Audio, I said that correct?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Is the name of your entity, or your business that you're offering mixing and mastering, I believe?
Correct. I've had kind of a little rough start with Dark Realm. When I launched it, it was like the fall of 2019, and then COVID happened. So right after COVID, I started to pick up more live gigs. And then since then, I have done stuff under that thing. But if like you go look up, that's why the page, if you've gone and looked at it, it's like inactive. Because I kind of haven't known if I should continue with that or just rebrand myself as just me, like, do like a Jeremy Jones audio or something. But I haven't decided what I fully want to do with that yet.
Well, I dig the name, and if your target audience is metal or anything adjacent to that, like hardcore, punk, or gothic music, I think it's a good move.
I love working on that. Actually, right now I am working on this band from Toledo, Extinction Agenda's new EP. I am right in the process of finishing mastering it, and it should be done in like another day or two with that. And then off to them. They're kind of like, I wouldn't say they're kind of death metal. They're like almost like death metal, but to deathcore. But then for the deathcore people, they wouldn't be deathcore enough. They're kind of like a nice, perfect balance. But I also do and like to do other genres than that. I can do anything. On Saturday I worked a rap show and everyone was happy with the sound, just like everyone was at the Burial Oath show and the Tundra show on Friday. So
yeah, I guess that would be the only thing as far as having that name, like Dark Realm. If you have artist that's not having that sort of vibe, like maybe they would be put off by that, or I guess it shouldn't matter as long as the work is good.
Yeah.
But
because when I first started, it was just mainly because I come from the metal world, I was gonna focus on that, and then I have slowly branched into like the rock and pop and rap and all that kind of world too. So, and I like working on all of that stuff. So, I work with anyone that I want to work with. If that makes sense.
Definitely, man. So, at the moment though, yeah, Dark Realm Audio is the moniker, I guess, right?
Yeah,
and
the name of my like studio at home.
Yes, sir. And we got Extinction Agenda.
Yeah, that's who I am currently working with right now.
Yeah, I've definitely seen their name on some flyers and stuff. And then yeah, a lot of how long have you been over at, I know you do sound at Maple Grove, and it seems like that's been a thing for a while.
Yeah, I've been there since I started shadowing there right before COVID, and then I've been there ever since we came back from COVID. And then recently, I kind of taken over pretty much all the shows just because Darren, the other sound guy, wanted to break for a little bit. He just got married like a couple years ago, so he said he kind of wanted more free time on the weekends, probably to spend with his wife or whatever, which is I totally get. And it kind of worked out for me at the time because I was like, I kind of need more income. So
Right on, man. Yeah, I just saw you there at the Burial Oath show. Shout out to those guys. So they've been on the show
yep.
here, and they're probably in like I think they're in like Texas right now or something. I've been seeing all the stories they're posting. So when you came in at Maple Grove, you said you were shadowing. Prior to that, did you have some experience in doing live sound?
No, not live sound. When I came in, it was a completely different learning experience. Live sound, there's a lot of you got to correct this right now or everyone's going to notice. And whereas with studio stuff, you can listen to it and then take a break and sort of like think about what can I fix that I don't like about this or whatever, rather than going, why is it doing this and how do I stop it from doing this right now? But no, I enjoy doing live sound. I enjoy doing recordings. Live sound's a little, to me, it's more stressful, but it's a little bit more easier because once the night's done, it's done. When you do recordings, you'll go back and listen to it like with fresh ears like 2 days later and be like, oh man, what's going on with this? This doesn't sound like it did 2 days ago or whatever. And then you gotta fix it. Whereas at the end of the night, as long as it was good enough, it was kind of good enough, if that makes sense. Not that I'm not doing a good job or whatever, but
yeah, it's
because a lot of the times I'm only working with the band for that night, and then I might not see them for another like couple of months. And then for some of the bands that I do multiple times live, once I've done them a couple of times, I kind of already know going in what I want to do and what I don't want to do for their mix and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's a moment in time, and yeah, but like you said, that's sort of the catch-22 is, with a mix, you might say, well, let's get this snare sounding good. Let me sweep the frequency, or like take some of this out, take it at certain X frequency, whatever. But when a mic is feeding back, or just whatever things that can happen, it's like that needs your immediate attention, and
Yep.
I think that has probably been pretty nerve-wracking at times. Or
Yes, yeah, because like I watch a lot of audio stuff on social media because that's obviously what I'm into, and I seen some, I don't remember his name, but some guy that mixes big festivals say this, and I already picked up on this. He said, if you're not nervous every time you're doing this, he said your ego's in the way. And I am 100% believe that, because every time I feel like I'm going to throw up before there's a show, I know it's going to be a good night. Because I'll get that like anxious about it. And in that video, he made a good point. He said, behind this console, he said, I could mess up everyone's night by doing something wrong or having equipment malfunction or something,
So, in your, in on that note, of having equipment malfunction, do you have certain like fail safes in place? Like, let's say, like a channel goes bad on the board, or I guess you can just move the cable over or something, but like, or but like, I would think there's certain things that you just sort of have like on deck, Is that does that make sense to ask it that way? Or
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that since I started doing this, I just carry with me now. And even if I'm not going to use it, I'll either carry it or it'll live at Maple Grove or Buzzbin or wherever. Um, my biggest worry every show is either the mains or the subwoofer power amps just crapping out. Because at both venues we probably should, but currently now at both venues we wouldn't have any backups. So I'd have to pull like one of the monitor ones and be like, well, you get no drum monitor tonight, but at least the front of house for the crowd will not sound bad or funky or whatever.
Yeah. I remember, like, in my own experience, I went to this school, many years ago, 2006. It's in Chillicothe, Ohio. It's called Recording Workshop, and it was like, it was quick. You went there. It was like a month-long program, and then I did an extra month that was like the advanced so where you could get a little more in, but I remember them having like fuses, and the mains in the I don't know how this translates to live sound, but like as far as like in the studio, and they had a fuse, so if the fuse would blow before like the speaker would blow. I don't know if that's I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now, but I don't know if that's something that's like a fail safe where if that's possible in the realm of live sound, or if that's just kind of not.
No, the power amps all have fuses, but you can still blow that or blow a speaker. Usually you blow a speaker when you don't know how to set the power amps and all of that, and you overset them because people don't realize with that you kind of should know a tiny bit about like electricity, because you're at that level, you're translating voltage and stuff over into power that's actually hitting the speakers. And if you put too much in there, you can just melt things or blow them up. I've blown stuff before. It happens. It's not fun. One of the last times that's happened, I was operating the board, so I'll take the operator responsibility. But at the venue, I told them, you probably aren't equipped to run the show tonight, because they just had one power amp for everything, and it was turned all the way up. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just the guest here tonight. So, and their monitors blew, and I had to help replace them out of my own pocket. And then, like a week or two later, the new replacements blew again over the same thing. And then I was like, well, that proves that I wasn't wrong in what I told them, but
but they didn't.
Yeah. It's
they
just
didn't give you your money back.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's something that I learned. That was like my first indie gig, and that was something where I learned I should have made a contract. So that it says, if you do this and act dumb, and you're like, no, we're gonna do it this way, then it's on you when your equipment fails or breaks or whatever.
For sure, man. Yeah, I think that's just part of life, and can get upset and like, just be mad, or you can take things, learn from them, and just say, well, no, next time I'm gonna be more upfront. I'm gonna make it clear what my terms are, and such. So with Buzzbin, because I'm just sort of thinking through this in real time. So you said you had done some shadowing at Maple Grove, and then did that sort of lead to you then getting some work in over at Buzzbin in Akron from there?
Actually, yeah, it did, because the one old sound guy, Travis, who is in the bass player in Toolbox and the Crew, and he used to play bass in Green Jello for a little bit. I don't think he's been doing that recently in the last year or two. But he was working at Buzzbin, and oh yeah, he's also in that band Lazy Ass Destroyer. And we had them at Maple Grove one time, and that's how I met him. And then after that, he needed another sound guy there, and I was looking for some extra work during the week, so I hit him up, and that's kind of how I got in at Buzzbin.
How would you say that? Because I've been to Maple Grove, enough times where I can, and I've seen how I can picture that in my head. I don't think, or for sure, I've never been at Buzzbin. How do those two situations compare? Is Buzzbin a similar layout, or is it like bigger, smaller venue, or?
It's smaller inside. The stage is smaller. It's taller. Inside, the Buzzbin feels more like a punk rock venue, I'd say, than the Maple Grove. The Maple Grove feels like a nice rock club where you could have anything, punk shows, metal, whatever. The Buzzbin feels more like kind of like how Class did when it was Now That's Class.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I remember the skateboard ramps being in
yeah.
And Now That's Class, and
like that era of
okay.
time for Now That's Class and all that.
Right on. So speaking of specific genres, punk, hip hop, you mentioned, is there a common thread across all these different genres, is or are there things that you're finding vastly different? Like I guess if I had to think through that, like hip hop, I mean they're giving you a track, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most, I would think, and then but even like I know Burial Oath has like a track for some synth parts, and what are like some things you've found interesting, or just like some approaches you've taken, as you navigate through, like, maybe Thursday it's or Friday Maple Grove it's hip hop, and then you're at Buzzbin the next day and it's punk, and then it's Sunday it's like death metal, or like how are you kind of like going through all that?
Kind of just for some stuff trial and error, and then I'm constantly researching this stuff. Like, everyone wants to know why I'm so good at this, and it's because like I dedicate. My girlfriend hates talking to me about sound. When I start talking, I can tell she's not listening. Mm-hmm. Even when it's stuff that she's asked me, and then I start talking about it, like why is this doing this in the living room with the sound bar or whatever. But no, when I research the stuff, sometimes there's stuff where you got to keep trial and erroring with what you're learning, because like recently for backing tracks, if you try to look up what's the correct way to do everything so you get the best mix out of them, you're going to go into so many directions online with people telling you stuff. Me asking other people, like audio engineers, same stuff. And then I had to take what they're saying and my trial and error and go, well, this is working better, but this really isn't. And it helps out for lots of different things, because for those rap shows now, when I have a band like Burial Oath that has the backing tracks for the synth, I know how to run those backing tracks better so they sit in the mix better with everything. Because obviously for the rap shows, it's just usually one or maybe two vocalists over the track that's already playing. So, that's kind of an easy mix per se that night. There's not like a whole lot of channels going on. You were asking about stuff translating between genres. There's a lot that just translates between genres. That's just music, and it's just like I'll listen to something and go, oh, that's interesting. And this kind of music, the hi-hat cymbal's doing what the kick drum for metal would be doing. But it gives it a completely different feel or whatever for the music that it's in. But there's a lot of stuff that's just in everything. Like if you sit down and break stuff down. Sometimes my girlfriend will play stuff in the car that I've never even heard. And just whatever genre it is, I kind of know the formulas for what they're going to do. And I'll, air drum along. And when a fill that I don't even know is coming up, I'll be like, fill time, and I'll do a fake fill. And there's a fill, even though I've never heard this song before.
Yeah, man. That is a nice thing about, the further you get involved in music. And I think that's more common nowadays because so many people are recording themselves at home.
Mm-hmm.
But just, being a musician and also, whether for work or just by necessity of like, a band practice or a DIY show, starting to learn how to run sound, record your own things, and becoming friends with other musicians, just the deeper you get into it, like you said, you start to see how things are put together. And certain music is very
Yeah, not to interrupt
No,
you,
please.
but even what you're talking about, sometimes I can watch vocalists now and watch body language, and I'll know when they're about to do stuff, and I've never worked with them before, and it lets me do like a cool vocal like delay for when I know they're about to like belt it out, and then it adds so much more to that show when you do it correctly. But it's just funny being able to do it without ever hearing the source material and nailing it. But like you said, the only reason for that is because I've gotten to the point where I can sit down with my brain and easily deconstruct things.
Yeah. No, that's a really cool example you used, and for sure, that adds so much to a show. I guess basically, I'm trying to think through how that would work. So, yeah, maybe you have like an aux on the vocalist channel, and then you're like, okay, he's about to do it, and then you bring the delay in. Like, is that how that would work?
Yeah. There's like an aux fader,
Yeah.
and it's got the delay on it, and you're letting the natural vocal go, and then that delayed one, and you're just raising it up ever so slightly to add saturation, and then you bring the fader back down when they're done to, kill it so it doesn't overlap with what they're going to sing next or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And I'm sure they may not even, the people in the audience or the vocalists may not even like think that far into it. Like,
probably not.
Oh man, like Jeremy just hooked me up there. But but they something subconsciously, they're like, wow.
Yeah.
That was a moment,
it
like,
hits better.
Yeah.
Probably I would say the vocalists, if they're going to on tour and they're going to a show the next night and they're at some place that just has a bum sound guy, they might notice that and go, wow, my vocals sound so much better with the delay in those parts live or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's just to add ear candy for the listener.
Mm-hmm. So as far as working these shows, what's what has been like the most fulfilling, or maybe there's a couple that would come to mind, like moments maybe you've had, like maybe working with an artist that you're a big fan of, or maybe just a moment where you felt like very accomplished, maybe something that went awry in the show and you were just able to fix it, or like is there anything that really just sticks out to you in this time that as he said, around COVID. So this is like kind of like 5 years you've been doing this.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing sound stuff for like 10 years or what is this? 11 years. I started. Well, that's not true. So really, I started with sound when I was a teenager back in like 2001, we'll say. I just goofed around with it. And about 20 years ago, I thought about getting serious into it. And then I just said, why bother? And I wish I wouldn't have. And then about 2015 is really when I got serious about it. Because for me, I got sick of going and paying for recordings, and then it's like, why can't it sound almost like the CDs do or whatever?
Yeah.
And that's what for me why I've got part of why I've wanted to get as good as I have, because I love working with bands and then giving me even stuff they've recorded at home, and then we make it sound like it wasn't. And speaking more on that, a big accomplishment just this last week, I don't know if you saw, the Broton album, the one single is number 7 on the secondary radio market. It was like above Breaking Benjamin, which is just crazy to think, because I'm laughing going, we recorded that in someone's basement, and it's doing one better than this other thing put out by BMG.
Excellent, man. Yeah, Broton, I'm looking forward to, hopefully catching part of their set at the, because I'll be there at Maple Grove this Friday for the Dog Rock benefit. This will be the second show I'm doing vocals with Misfits tribute.
It's Saturday, not Friday.
Saturday, my bad.
No, you're all good. I just figured I'd
no, thank you.
Correct that in case people are listening and they come out early.
Yeah, don't go
that
there
actually happened 2 weeks ago. A couple came out the night before the show that they really wanted to see. And then I kind of felt bad and told them that they could, if they paid tonight, they could just come back for free the next night.
For sure.
Because it was the same price.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'll probably just listen to it when I leave out of here, since if it's streaming and all that.
Oh yeah, it's on. It's everywhere.
Excellent. And then Broton and a bunch of other bands gonna be at Maple Grove this Saturday. If you hear this before then, go put it on your calendar and go there and support local dogs, no kill shelters. So Broton, did you went to their, I guess maybe it was one of the guys' houses and helped them track it?
It was Richard, their guitar player and singer. That's where they practice, is in his basement. And he's actually he put up wood walls when he first moved in there, like built wood over the concrete. And that I told him, without you actually knowing, this helped shape what went down here whenever you built that. And I said, I know you got this house a long time ago, and it was before you did, and well, not before he was in any bands, but before he was going to practice down there or anything. But actually came out way better than what I expected. I didn't know how the drums were going to come out in such a small little area, especially for how loud their drummer hits, but actually came out nice. So
was it sort of a lot of early reflections, like a lower ceiling, walls tight around the drums, or how was the setup there?
Well, for the drums, the wall that was behind him was the only cement or cinder block wall that wasn't covered with wood. So that was going to be my main concern, but the cymbals didn't seem to I figured they would maybe sound weird or get too much artifacts from bouncing off the brick wall, but they actually didn't.
Right on, man. And then what was the process for? So, I guess I gotta maybe a better way to phrase this. Like, like let's say a band approaches you and they're like, well, hey, we want you to help us track this and kind of sort of maybe, be like producer in some sense. Are you like adamant in saying, well, yeah, we should track this to a click, or are you kind of just like whatever the band prefers? Or
I try to see what they want first, and then sometimes they'll say they want something, but then they'll say we don't want to do this, and you're like, well, the only way to do that is to do what you said you don't want to do, and you got to go back and forth and figure that out. And it's not really like an argumentative process. I'd say it's more like well, if you wanted to do this, this is why we would have to do that, and then the band always has the final say. So there was some stuff for Extinction Agenda that I did on the vocals, extra things, and the vocalist said, no, take those off, I don't want those, which I disagree with, but at the end of the day, they're the bunny, so, and it's their song, so though that's how it'll be.
Sure. yeah.
And
their art.
With the Broton too, Richard, the guitar player, it wasn't until the second guitar tracking session where he was sold on how we were doing everything. Because after he heard how everything was sounding after that, he's like, you know what? Now I'm sold on how we're doing this. He's like, at first I know I was all grumpy, and they loved how their debut release came out. So, excellent. And I had fun tracking and working on that and everything. We kind of tracked it, I would say, both old school and new school way, meaning there was a lot. There was the one song that's like 10 minutes long where each time we tracked a new guitar part, I'd sit there for 10 minutes while he tracked it. Like, we didn't punch in. We did some punching in, but we didn't do a whole lot of punching in like you do on albums, where you're just like, okay, I'm good with that, but I screwed this up. And if he screwed something up, or I thought he screwed something up, I'd be like, I don't know. Let's re-listen. I think you hit a sour note here. And then he'd go back and play through the whole 10 minutes of everything again.
Honestly, I mean, I really respect that process. It can be a bit tedious, but I don't know. It just depends on like you said, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on the band, the project, and everything.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Extinction Agenda and Broton. Broton stuff is out now.
Yeah.
Extinction Agenda, is that that'll depend, I guess, on when they drop it, or did that
Yeah,
release?
that'll depend on when they drop it. I'll let you know when it's available and all that.
Sure, man. And I think what we could do, for when I put in these episodes on Spotify, I'm putting, it'll allow me to put a link to a playlist, like, attached to the interview. So, I think that would best serve.
I do have a playlist on Spotify that says of everything that's on there that I've mixed and mastered.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make sure that
it's not everything that I've ever done, but it's everything that's available on Spotify. Like, so.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Some people have. Well, anyway, we'll that'll definitely get included. Well, yeah, some people, I was gonna say, some people don't want things on Spotify, I've come across. So
I see that.
Yeah,
I personally think that's the dumb route to go, because if you're not everywhere, then you're kind of you're screwing up.
It just
I get it. I get why people don't like Spotify or whatever.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it can be, I guess it could be a political. Well, that's my one friend I talked to. He's hey, our song just came out. You want to check it out? I said, yeah, man. I'll look it up on Spotify. And he's like, well, no, we don't use Spotify. He was like dead serious, Bandcamp only. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I respect if you believe strongly in that. Cool, more power to you. Yeah, and then some people. Like, for example, Corey came on here. who is the drummer of Fistula and really the driving force behind that band. And I tried to put something together for him, and he's just got so much music out there. There was no way I was gonna get all of it, But I did my best, and that's a fun rabbit hole to go down. Of like, it's pretty easy now. I think it would have been harder back in the day in like the infancy of the internet. But like, there's like metal archives and there's Discogs, and you can figure things out of what people were on. Even if it's logged properly, if you searched your name right now, I think it would probably show up somewhere like that you were credited as mixing engineer on something,
yeah.
Sort of like taking a quick minute to think back on other people who have come in here, right? Like Thomas Haywood, or like Tommy, however you want, what he would go by. He has the record label, the Redefining Darkness, and then he's been in a bunch of bands. So when I was like looking up his stuff, it's like, it just gets a bit confusing because it's like, did he play? You got to look closely. Oh, he played drums on this one. Oh, he was a writer on this song. He was this is an album that his record label released. So it's but anyway, we'll definitely include that anything that is available on Spotify. I wanted to make sure that I'm super interested in the live sound questions. I guess that's because that's primarily how I know you and what I associate you with. But as I said before, I didn't want it to be misconstrued. I sort of said in a word that like you started, because you said you were shadowing, like you started up at Maple Grove around like after COVID. But basically what I want to make sure I say is that, and the way I understand it is, like you've been mixing, you've been recording music. I think that sort of predates the sound engine. Is that correct to say?
Yeah. Because I started out in bands and stuff, just like everyone that you usually probably have on here.
And I meant to have my Facebook open because I saw you had that listed when I looked earlier. There was some names of some bands you were in. I think it'd be cool.
I've been in a bunch of them, but
I think it'd be cool to.
There's even ones that I don't remember now at this point, because like I have the one tattoo on my neck. I don't remember what side, the brass knuckles that say "Get Crushed." That was actually a band I was in. But the funny thing was, we only had 2 band practices, and that was it. And we all have friendship tattoos over it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is funny. But like for me, I don't ever include that in my discography of bands, because it's like we had 2 practices and that was it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But no, the 2 biggest bands that I was in around here was Beside the Silence and Seek Shelter, which actually, when that what was that festival in Illinois, Rock something, a couple months ago, where all the nasty weather was happening? Or no, it was down in Florida. I'm sorry. They were having all the nasty weather. That band, my band, Seek Shelter, started trending again, because they kept putting that on or kept interrupting everyone's set, and they would tell them to seek shelter from the weather.
Nice.
Because I got a message from the page of somebody saying, "Hey, your band's trending again because of this," and I was like, "Oh, haha, that happened a couple of years ago." And they're like, "No, but people are actually like listening to you guys," and they're like, and some people wanted us back, but that's for that band that'll probably never happen.
So with you playing in bands, were you playing guitar or did you play?
I played guitar and I played bass.
Oh, right on.
And when I was in Beside the Silence, which was the last band I was in, I played guitar and bass. I played rhythm guitar, I played lead guitar, and I played bass while I was in there, which is crazy to think.
Right on.
Because in that band, everyone could play guitar. So like when somebody couldn't do something, then I'd be like, well, I can play bass, so I'll play bass on this tour, I guess, and somebody else could. Even at one point, a guitar player I replaced came back in and took my spot.
Well, it's a good way to be, I guess, as long as the whatever it takes to keep the band going.
Yeah. And we were all civil, when people would have to leave or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens.
Yeah.
I wasn't always like that. When I was younger, I would be so mad when people would do that. But now, as I gotten older, I'm just like, life pulls you in different directions that you don't want to necessarily go, but you have to sometimes.
Very true, man. Live and learn, as they say. But yeah. So with the style of was Within the Silence.
Beside the
Silence. Yeah, my bad. Beside the Silence.
Good.
How would you describe the style of that project?
It was metalcore, deathcore, but it was since there was a lot of clean singing, the deathcore kids are not into it, and then we were trying to appeal to like Motionless in White because we kind of had that look going on too, but like for that crowd we were too heavy.
Okay.
So then we met in the middle and we started playing with like Wednesday 13 and like other because we had a bunch of industrial and keyboard stuff in there, but we would find industrial bands to play with. Who else did we play with? I think we played with Dope one time here at the Agora, or that might have been Dope and Wednesday 13. I don't remember.
Okay.
Might have been the same show.
Right on. So yeah, so your guitar in that band, and then did you end up taking on the role of the engineer for music that was there releases with that band where you were engineering it or mixing it, or
there was stuff I helped work on, but it's never seen public release or anything. It's never been even finished. So
okay.
There was times where I helped track stuff with Darren, who's the other sound guy at Maple Grove. He was the vocalist in our band, and he produced the first record for us. Well, our only record.
Okay.
Yeah, because that band was signed to Ferocious Records that used to be around here, along with Psychosis and Bless the Child and a bunch of other Cleveland bands.
Okay. So you guys did have some material released, but just
yeah, we have one full-length CD that was available at all the major music retailers, and it's on Spotify and all that. That was my first dove into Spotify, and that was back when you had to have like a legitimate record label distribution to even get on there. They wouldn't in 2016 they wouldn't take it if you were going through CD Baby and all those other places that they'll take now, that all the independent artists use for distribution and that.
I have mixed feelings on that because, it's nice that, I have music that I put a lot of work into, and just 2 singles actually. Well, and then there's like some older band where I put the music up. But yeah, it's nice to be able to do it and not have that stipulation. But then also sometimes, what do they call that? Not gatekeeping, but I can't think of the word right now. Curating.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes curating is a good thing. I mean, right now, I could probably, I think I could, hypothetically, go like fart into a microphone and then like just upload it. And it could be up there,
Yeah, there was people spamming and doing that.
And then people can put AI. Supposedly they're blocking the We don't need to go into a tangent on AI, but but just for example,
why? Because of my Facebook post.
Well,
if you ever wanted to do a deep dive episode, I would gladly talk about it, and maybe people would actually understand where I'm coming from with it all. Because a lot of the times, I think people understand what I'm talking about.
Well,
with it, or they want to see what I'm saying and put their spin on. This is what he's saying, and it's like, no.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay, so the cat's out of the bag, or however you want to say. Yeah, we'll talk about that for a sec for sure. for a minute. But no, just I think supposedly now, if you, and don't quote me on this, but like that they were trying to sort of block people from doing that, from uploading AI music, or even like having AI cover art, supposedly. But with AI in general, I think it never used to bug me, but I think it's just one of those things where like people use the term like fatigue. It's like it's just you see so much of it, and I get it for some people. Like they're just like, let me just get this done. Let me just make this flyer, and I don't care. Like if you're like people in like cover bands or like people are like running a restaurant or something, but I think if you're an original artist or you put yourself out to be that way, like to use those things is very just cringy, as the kids would say.
Yeah, then that's where I'm at with it. I seen one used for the city I grew up in for something that the Chamber of Commerce is putting on, and the town that I grew up in, you can go to Polaris Vocational School around here, and there was, because I talked to somebody I went to school with that went to the interactive multimedia course there. This was 20 years ago. We would have graduated. And right now they DoorDash because they were a graphic artist and they lost all of their clients because of AI and stuff. And now they DoorDash for money. And I had to look it up. Does that school districts or does Polaris still offer that class? And they do. But these cities that want their kids to go do that are, using this AI stuff. And it's like, when you use that, yeah, you're saving money, but you're telling these kids to go take this course and they're going to take it for nothing. Because then they're going to become 40 and it's not going to be there. And they're going to be like, what did I do this for? You know what I mean?
No, that is a good point too. Like I'm trying, because what I see is
AI can be useful for some stuff, but like when you're trying to cheap out on it, that's to an extent where I have the problem with it. You know what I mean? So, one of my friends, they used AI on his dental X-rays, and it caught a cavity before it even formed. And then by the next week when he went there, you could see it then, but they wouldn't have caught it beforehand without that probably. That's good stuff, but like you could hire somebody to make that flyer. I make flyers. I'm not a great graphic artist, but like I only charge the time it's going to take me, which is usually an hour, and that's $25 for an hour of my time, which is like nothing.
I mean, I'm like using Canva and stuff, just so I can, because I
and honestly too, with everything that's out there on YouTube, there's tutorials you could learn.
Yeah.
The thing that used to drive me crazy is getting those flyers a couple of years ago without the transparent background. And I'm like, why can't you just learn how to do that? There's a video that'll show you in a minute and a half how to do that on Adobe or whatever you're using.
Right. Yeah, I've tried using Photoshop. As a bit of a learning curve there, but I'm sure
that is
like
true.
with anything, you would figure it out. It's not cheap either. I think that's one of those things where you have to, when I had a subscription, where as opposed to like, being able to like own it outright.
I have a freeware version that's similar. It's called GIMP.
Okay.
But it's basically like Photoshop, but free.
Nice.
It's a little bit different, and it's a little bit. It takes a little bit more getting used to than if you're used to Photoshop, but It's pretty much the same thing.
Sort of like I guess you could compare to using Reaper.
Yeah, it's very much like like Reaper
than Logic Pro.
Yeah, because I think too it's like set up like how Reaper is, where it's all people that keep working on it and updating it constantly.
Excellent. Shout out to the GIMP. To GIMP, bring out the GIMP. Pulp Fiction reference. Anyway, dude. All right. So, I want to make sure, that anyone that hears this and you could be hypothetically, I mean, for real, you could be anywhere in the world, and potentially, if you need some music, mixed, mastered, you could hit up Jeremy here.
Yeah, because
Jeremy,
I'm set up to do that at home.
yeah, Jeremy Jones on Facebook. I believe on Instagram it says Jeremicide.
Yep.
Was that like just for fun, or was that a
so
stage
when
name?
when I make rap beats, that's my producer
Oh,
tag.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, that's another thing.
And I think too, we were for Beside the Silence at the end. We were trying to make ourselves into characters, and I think I was just going to use that as my character name.
That was my immediate
But
thought.
for Beside the Silence too, at the fall of 2019, we were going to relaunch again in March of 2020, and then members kind of got flaky or something right before then when we decided not to, and I'm so glad we didn't, because we would have wasted so much money to launch in March of 2020, right as everything fucking shut down.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Don't worry about that.
bad.
Don't worry about that. It happens. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I know, man. That was COVID time was like you had to make the best of it, I guess, to keep your sanity. But it was a good time to like work on technique, and whether that would be playing your instrument, or like if you had a decent area in your home, or I guess if you had a lockout, or like to get better at mixing, or making YouTube videos or whatever. But as far as like being a band, and like you're saying, like having like rolling, investing money, like, hey, what's the point of you got to have shows, you got to have
Because shows is how you're gonna make money now.
Yeah.
Nobody makes money off of record sales.
True. Yeah, you got to sell merch, and you gotta, I don't know, there's a lot of moving parts to it. But anyway, yeah, I just want to make sure that within this interview, anyone that might hear it, if they're interested in the mixing services, mixing, mastering, they're able to reach out to you, and
Yeah, definitely.
I assume that'd be the best way for now,
I keep saying I'm going to have like a landing site so that you can sign it up with your email, and monthly you can know what's going on with me. But I've been too lazy or haven't had time to really do it.
Okay.
Lately, this is something I talked about in March, and it's now June.
I hear you, man.
I kind of want to do that, and just that way it can send everyone there, and then it'll also answer any questions you might have before you hit me up.
Yeah. I mean, you have like Linktree, but that's sort of, I don't know, I always associate that with, I guess most people are on their phone anyway. So that could be an option. Pardon me, that could be an option. Outside of like, making a formal website and all that.
Yeah, because like I said, I have the Dark Realm audio, but I probably should have promoted the page during COVID, but I really didn't, because like I didn't have much going on with it at the time. During COVID, I think my main client was my one friend who, it's funny enough, I make he has Halloween parties, and he'll make like a themed room with like props in it and whatnot, because he's an actor and a director and whatnot. And then he'll have me splice together. He'll be like, this is what I want audio wise. And sometimes it's from a horror movie, and he'll want samples from the movie and then music to play after and all that. And I'll make him tracks that he can just play on a CD player all night on repeat. So during COVID, that's all I was really doing was stuff for him for his party, which I end up doing every year, which I enjoy doing. But yeah, I need to get that site up so that way people can contact me better.
Yeah. So like Dark Realm Audio, Jeremy Jones, Jeremicide on Instagram.
Yeah, and if you really wanted to, you could do jeremicide@gmail to hit me up.
Sure.
It's become my personal email.
For
But
sure.
like, yeah.
And then with bands around Cleveland or Ohio bands, or even I would think touring bands, if they're it seems to me that you have a hand in booking shows at Maple Grove.
Yes, I am the one
Yeah.
that books everything there.
Excellent.
I'm just the sound guy at Buzzbin.
Okay. Yeah, so that could be another possibility if anyone that bands that are hearing this.
Yeah, because I even offer at Maple Grove live set recordings. You'll get a full recording and then it mixed how it sounded for the show for $150.
That's smart, man. I've noticed some other
Yeah.
places doing that. Well, actually, what pops into my head is I always try to, when I can, tie things back to like past guests. Like I started doing that before in the interview, but anyway, Mulciber, they went to Afterlife in Akron.
Oh yeah, I know
And,
Josh. I know the sound engineer there, Josh.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they
Well, I don't know him. I know of him, and I've talked to him before. So yeah.
for sure. I don't. Yeah, better than me, man. I haven't been there, but I've seen. This is a very nice stage, and then yeah, they shot footage for a music video they put out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, over there. So yeah, I think that's smart. That to creative ways to use the space.
Yeah.
When otherwise it might just be Maple Grove, there's a nice bar downstairs, and then I would think on the average day there's probably not, like earlier in the day, or if it's maybe it's like a Tuesday night, I don't know, I would think that space may be sort of available.
Yeah, for stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Not too long ago on a Tuesday afternoon, we had Trash Hag shoot part of their music video up there, and that was a nice day for me because I got it to come in, play with the soundboard a little bit, play with the lights, and get paid and go home. For like 3 hours.
So in that case, I guess they're sort of, well, I guess it could go different ways, but if it's meant to be a music video to like pre-recorded music, they would just kind of
like
set it up to play.
Trash Hag had a videographer there and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was just playing like the pre-recorded track through the PA while they like mimed along with their instruments or whatever.
Have you gotten into controlling the lights as part of, is that something that's
that's something that I do.
Okay, for sure.
Any of the lights that's going on, that's me doing it.
Excellent, man.
It's kind of hard to do both at the same time because sometimes you're like, oh, I got to do this for the mix, and then you're like, oh, but I could have done this cool thing with the lights, but then you only got two hands.
Probably better. Yeah, it was sound.
And my thing is to focus on the mix over
Yes.
the lights.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think it seems to me that there's obviously it'd be better if you can like hands on and like hit the light right at the right moment so it's dramatic and impactful. But like I know a lot of those light systems, they would have like sort of like you would call like a program where it's like cycling through different...
the new ones. The one there is all hand by faders. So
okay.
So if I had 6 more hands, I could probably do what those controllers do. But it's all me doing it with the faders and pressing buttons and stuff constantly.
Yeah. Is that what they called DMX or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a DMX controller that's up in the rack with me.
That's just one of those things where like
this
is just dumb as hell, but like I would see that for years and I'd just be like, DMX, like the rapper or something. And then finally,
Yeah,
I'm
I should probably know this. I don't even remember what it stands for. It probably stands for digital something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, brother, dude, thank you so much for coming in tonight. This was really cool. The show.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I rambled too much.
No, man,
answers.
there's no rambling. Like if anyone's,
no, I ramble. Trust me.
everyone's got. Well, we're here to talk with you, man, and you have a lot to share. So, it's with sound engineering, audio engineering, your experience of being in bands, and also, no matter who it is, whether it's whatever their field is or their experience, like, there's a small part of the interview, like, where we're just talking, the conversation might go, we start talking about AI for a minute. Might start talking about your dog or something like that's. We don't want to make that the whole interview, obviously, but like those moments are cool, in my opinion, like, and people that are listening would hopefully appreciate that in some way, right?
Everything that I listen to, whether it's a podcast or like a radio interview, it's because they talk about those off-topic things. And I know sometimes the guests will get mad about it, and I'm just like, why? This is sometimes the host will be like, this is what they want to hear about, and it's like, yeah, he's right. This is not that I don't want to hear about your new project or whatever, but I'd also rather hear about the cool, like, random facts.
Yeah.
That you might not know unless I was to go look up your Wikipedia page or whatever.
Exactly, man. It kind of shows us where, where the things we have in common and, common thread among us. I mean, it could be, it just depends on the artist. If the artist is like, if their whole image is wrapped around like being like evil and being like just this like entity that's like, I could respect that, but like, to be in character like that for an hour might be kind of hard,
right?
We might just do like a half an hour interview and then so having having an hour to talk lends itself to
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's some black metal bands where they're in character the whole night, and I'm just like, come on, dude, just be normal. Just be normal with me behind here. Like Burial Oath, they obviously put makeup on and do the dark aesthetic thing, but even though they're in character at that time, you can still talk to them as normal people throughout the whole night.
I watched how Jesse was, and you could tell that his vibe changed a little bit. Not in like he's being a jerk or something, but like
he's very
closer.
He's very focused.
Yeah,
person when he's about to play. I noticed
exactly. He was, and I was like, cool. He's locked in right now.
Yeah, locked in.
That's
a good
like
word.
I walked by him and I was like, hey man, and he was just like, and I didn't take it as like, oh, he blew me off. I was just like, oh yeah, he's ready to do the thing, So, but like I said, man, dude, this was really cool. Definitely, more we could get into. Probably have you come back at a later time, and we can just like update on new projects you're working on. Things how things are progressing in your career, as I'm sure they will. Working at different venues or in different capacities. We'll go ahead and wrap up for tonight. Thank you for anyone that's listening to this show live.
Thanks to anyone that's listening live to me ramble.
We definitely
or
got
anyone that's going to listen to this afterwards too.
Yeah. So this will be up on YouTube and Spotify, all that. And thank you for checking the show out. And y'all keep it heavy out there. All right.